really cool news for you guys about the MLB themselves. On June 2nd, MLB will make it an annual holiday called Lou Gehrig Day. Now, in case if you guys, Lou Gehrig's story is obviously known by so many people across the world, but in case if you don't know who Lou Gehrig is, he's obviously a New York Yankee great, he's a Hall of Famer, and he's most known for retiring because he had the disease called ALS. Um, they'll be celebrating the holiday with a four ALS logo to raise awareness for the ALS disease, which I think is really really cool. And the league will use the money to awareness to battle the ALS, and pay homage to ALS advocacy groups and all of that. So I think this is a really cool way of making awareness to something that's so serious in this in life itself. And this was reported by Jeff Passan of ESPN. So, Mario, I'll let you go first. What do you think of Major League Baseball making it an annual holiday?
I mean, I completely agree with it. When we think about baseball players, obviously we think about like Babe Ruth, and we think about Barry Bonds, we think about the Hank Aaron's, but and then we think about the Lou Gehrig's. And I mean, like out of the main names in baseball, Lou Gehrig is definitely up there. I think he's definitely top four and top five. And like you said, we're Red Sox fans, but we really do got to appreciate the work that Lou Gehrig put into the game. And not only that, Lou Gehrig played through a lot. I think he was the original Cal Ripken. He was the original Cal Ripken, because a lot of people, when they think about Cal Ripken, they think about how long he played, and they think about how many consecutive games he played without missing, which is honestly in an MLB season that is amazing. Lou Gehrig did it first. This was a guy who was playing through anything. He had a cold, he'll play. He had a stomach bug, he'd play. He had injuries, he'd play. Whatever you could think of, Lou Gehrig played through it. And bless the man's soul. Now, obviously, like we're in a different day. Now we got like more technology, and now we got better ways to handle certain illnesses or injuries. So now if that were to happen with somebody else, we'd either call them two things. We'd either call them tough, or we call them stupid. We either call them tough because they're playing through it, or we'd call them stupid because they're risking themselves even more. But back then, it was a completely different time. They didn't have the proper, like the physical therapy people and the medical assistants didn't have the technology and the right tools that they have now to kind of help these players. So Lou Gehrig, it was only two choices, play or sit, and he decided to play. And obviously, it caught up to him, unfortunately, at ALS, and we all know how devastating that is. Obvious. The other athlete that comes to the top of my mind that has ALS is Steve Gleason, the former player for the New Orleans Saints, who blocked that punt in the first game back. So that's the other athlete that comes to my mind. But yeah, I mean, it's about damn time, Nate. You know what I'm saying? Like, Lou Gehrig is definitely an MLB great. He's an MLB Hall of Famer, and I'm going to be honest with you, like, number 4 is very, very valuable, I think, in baseball. Whoever reps number 4, they better rep it good, because as soon as I see number 4, the first person that comes to my mind is Lou Gehrig. And so, I mean, with that being said, I commend the MLB on this. I feel like he definitely should be celebrated more in the MLB community, and I'm glad that they're doing this, and especially the fact that they're going to be raising some money for ALS, and they're giving it more awareness and more attention. Because I remember a few years back, they were doing like the ALS bucket challenges, and that got a lot of attention. A lot of people were donating to it. Right. I'd like to see that come back, because obviously we got a bunch of new celebrities who just entered the scene since, and I would like to see them, I'd like to see a bunch of athletes get soaked in water. I'd like to see, what I'm saying? So I'm glad that they're bringing attention to this, and who knows, maybe because of baseball, all that stuff will come right back. So, I mean, with that being said, I got to tip my cap to the MLB, because they're doing a great job.
Right, absolutely. And before I get to a quote from MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred, I actually want to give you guys a pretty interesting fact. If you guys know who singer and songwriter Brian Wayne Galentine is, he actually recommended MLB to do something like this in one of his lyrics. Let me read it real quick, and I quote: "Do you think it would be possible and appropriate to approach MLB with doing something like Lou Gehrig, like they've done with Jackie Robinson?" And ever since then, he sat down with MLB and a couple of his other co-chairs, Adam Wilson and Chuck Haberstor. I butchered that last name, but anyway, they sat down with the MLB. They've been trying to persuade him, and now they finally got it to do it. So, I mean, I gotta tip my cap to him for even making the suggestion to begin with. Now let me get to the quote by Rob Manfred, what he said about this, and I quote: "Major League Baseball is thrilled to celebrate the legacy of Lou Gehrig, whose humility, and courage continue to inspire our society. While ALS has been closely identified with our game since Lou's legendary career, the pressing need to find cures remain. We look forward to honoring all the individuals and families in baseball and beyond who have been affected by ALS and hope Lou Gehrig Day advance its efforts to end the disease. So yeah, I mean, I think this is a really cool way of making an annual holiday. Not only are you making it a holiday to honor a true legend of the game, but you're also doing it to raise awareness of some, of a very serious disease, ALS. There's, like Rob Manfred said, there's no cure for it, and they want to help try and find a cure for it. You know what I mean? So it's really cool. Like, you don't see a lot of national holidays raising awareness to other things. You know what I mean? So for this to kind of like it's kind of a new take on different holidays. Like on new holidays. You know what I mean? Especially for sports. And sports is a really great way of promoting so many other awarenesses and all that stuff. Obviously we see it with politics, and we see it with social injustice. We see it with all of that. So I think sports is a really great platform to promote that stuff and raise more awareness to it because a lot of people across the world watch sport. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's just the perfect place. I couldn't think of any other place than on a sports brand to promote something because it's just everybody watches it. They gain such a high amount of attention. It's absolutely insane.
Right.
I think this is a really great idea.
Right. And I mean, and one more thing I want to add, like we talked about a lot of times, like the declining of the MLB. Well, two things here, 2 points, I guess. So not only could this like raise the viewership, what they're doing, but
Hmm.
not only that, but if the MLB still like continues to decline or it just stays the same, hopefully a lot of leagues look at what the MLB is doing and they apply it to their league because there are leagues that we know like the NBA is rising, the NFL is rising. Hopefully those leagues can kind of take that idea that the MLB is using, use that same idea and even spread more awareness to it. So the
Right,
more
right.
awareness to this disease, because it honestly is a very it's a very terrible disease. Nobody deserves to go through anything like that. So the more awareness that people could bring to it, the more that it could help. So I think the MLB is doing a great job, and I think they can possibly become trendsetters when it comes to this.
Absolutely, and I hope that does become the case. So with that being said, I gotta tip my cap to the MLB on this, and I hope they continue to do good things like this.